just make sure I have everything right. Okay. Screen share. Here we go. All righty. Good morning, everybody. Super excited to have you this morning at How to Craft a Successful Brand with Christina Scott. Yay. So excited. I'm Ariel Rubin, the Lane County Venture Catalyst, and I'm also the founder and CEO of my own marketing firm, Ariel.inc. And I also like to say I'm the innovation strategist at my family's business, Hummingbird Wholesale. And then my past is also with the Hazel People, which I'll mention again a little bit later. So quick agenda today, short introduction from me, and then we'll hear the main presentation by Christina Scott. And we can do questions throughout. We just figured that you all may have some questions that we can just talk about anytime. So feel free to put those in the chat, and then we'll end around 10. Just virtual etiquette, please remain muted. I know a few folks just joined, so if you wouldn't mind just muting yourself, that would be great. Just so that the background noise isn't rustly for everybody. And if you have any questions, post them in the chat. Like I mentioned, you can also use the raise hand feature, and we'll have some time to unmute as well and just have a chat. And this is a place for fun, learning, and inclusivity. Please be polite, supportive, and positive in conversation and in the chat. And just a reminder that this is being recorded, so I'll be able to share after the fact, and I'll post it on the RAIN YouTube channel. Our mission at Oregon RAIN is to partner with communities across Oregon to catalyze entrepreneurial ecosystems, connect entrepreneurs to resources, including overlooked entrepreneurs, and contribute to the creation of prosperous economies. And we do this by, like I love to say, we create infrastructure for startups. So making sure that there's mentors, networking opportunities, workshops, physical assets, capital, news and media, conversation going about small business and local government support, and of course, workforce and much more. And I can't do this alone. We can't do this alone. So I'm here to catalyze community, building partnerships. Please join in. We're always stronger together. Come share your ideas. And especially now, it's important to stay connected, and all are welcome. And a huge thank you to our partners, mentors, entrepreneurs, and funders. We love creating thriving entrepreneurial ecosystems with all of you. This is our awesome team. You might see us across Oregon helping you all. So please feel free to reach out anytime. We're always here to support you in your business needs. And of course, personal. The line gets sort of blended these days. So please reach out with anything and we'll send you in the right direction. What's next is our motto. We're always excited about what's next. So just know that there's always free resources available. You can email me. Here's my email here. And we always have ongoing weekly mentorship. So if you just want to jump on a call with me, always welcome to. I'm super excited that I'm partnering with Micah Alconen from Eugene's Table for a 5-part food and beverage series called Food Business Basics. And they're actually every single Thursday of the month at 5:30 p.m. So the first one is tonight on food trucks. So yay, April 1st. Oh gosh, I should have done some type of prank. I forgot it's April Fool's Day. Anyways, maybe you all have some cool ideas. But yeah, so tonight at 5:30 we have food trucks, and then next week 5:30 restaurants. The following week we have consumer products, which is definitely related to today, and branding, food business basics, agricultural and farming. So that will be on the 22nd. And then the last one is beer, wine, and spirits. So please come out and support us with all of those if you're interested in the food and beverage space. And here we go with Christina. I'm so excited. I'm going to read Christina's bio here. So Christina is a multidisciplinary creative who specializes in simplifying the creative process to help build brands to evolve and live their best lives. Christina is an accomplished art director, designer, and brand strategist with 17 years of experience. Client partnerships range from global brands like Airbnb and Saks, Nike, and high-end creative agencies to inspiring startups with enterprise in the food and beverage, sport, luxury, and hospitality industries. Whether you're a startup with a new idea, an established brand that needs a tune-up, Christina's passion is to guide your business idea or brand with a clear roadmap that will connect with consumers in bold and meaningful ways. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Christina. Welcome, Christina. So excited to have you.
Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. Ariel, thank you so much for having me talk about everything that I love to talk about. I live and breathe brand and especially consumer beverage and food goods. So it's a really, it's a fun topic for me to share and riff about with others.
Awesome. Yay.
Yay. Also, I want to say, so I have a deck for everyone. I'm going to walk through. I was telling Ariel, like, we could spend 2 days doing a workshop on branding. This is just super high level kind of steps, key steps to think about beyond your logo, more so about connecting with your customer and really thinking about your competition and really thinking about your messaging, like how you're relatable and valuable. And I put this deck together that has a lot of information. So I'm going to read through it at any time. If anyone has questions or you want to chime in or something's not clear, please raise your hand. I'd love to like clarify and kind of make this more of an interactive experience rather than me just up here kind of telling you what's what. But at the end of the event, I'd love to share this deck too. I think, I really wanted to add value for you all. So these will just be some steps that you can kind of refer to as you're going through your branding process. Either you're starting out or in the middle of a rebrand or just want to freshen things up. I think everything in this deck would be valuable at some point for you.
Awesome. And while Christina's sharing her screen, I just have to say one little thing is that it's so incredible working with someone who can just take what's in your mind and put it into practice. Like I remember working with Christina for the Hazel People, and we just had this vision and she could just like make it happen. It was so beautiful. So we're in good hands.
Oh, thank you. It was such a joy to work with you on that project and everyone else. It was really, that was one of my, like, I love working with startups, just to riff off some other things. I do work with these bigger brands, but at the heart of what I do, it's really helping educate someone who has this amazing idea or this true passion and help let them kind of figure out what they're doing in that respect, but help have them lean on me to help sort of guide their vision and their messaging and how the world can relate to them. So that was a super fun project that we worked on.
Well, you do it so well.
Thank you. All right, so I'm going to just like read these slides. And again, if anyone has comments, questions, please feel free to chime in. And here we go. So starting a company, launching a product or service is really exciting. And it's tempting to jump right into designing your logo, focusing on your goals or the products that you want to sell. But before that happens, it's really important to think about the type of brand you want to build. When you think about your brand, you really want to think about your entire customer experience, everything from how you speak about your brand, the way you present, market, and deliver your service to your logo and online presence. All these elements capture the essence of your brand and sends an implicit message about how much you respect your own business. In short, the brand is not just the way you look, but it's about the way that your customer perceives you. It's really critical to be aware of the brand experience and have a plan to create an intentional experience, one that connects and is valuable to your current and potential customer. A good brand doesn't just happen, it's well thought out and it has a strategic plan. How to create a successful brand. Okay, so this is an amazing famous quote from Jeff Bezos. I always love to share. Your brand is what other people say about you when you're not in the room. What is a brand? Your brand is not your product, your logo, or your website, or your name. Your brand is far more encompassing. It defines the visceral and frequently intangible aspect of your company identity. So it's the sum of many parts. Your logo doesn't do all the heavy lifting. Yes, it's important to have a logo and a visual presence, but it really is about your values, your mission, and your customer engagement, keeping them top of mind, defining their pain points, solving some problems of theirs. We're now in an age where it's not people just talking about themselves. It's really about how can you help, how can you solve these pain points and add value to someone's life. So what should your brand accomplish? In today's world, we realize that branding can no longer be viewed as a means to simply lure your prospects to prefer you over your competition. Your mission is to get them to see you as a dependable thought leader and influencer who addresses their needs or problems with flair, transparency, and hopefully better than anyone else. Against this overreaching theme, your brand must accomplish the following objectives: deliver a message clearly, succinctly, reaffirm your credibility, build an emotional connection with your audience, generate goodwill and loyalty, motivate your potential audience to buy or take the next step, i.e. if your online presence, get them to shop, not only put your product in the shopping cart, but actually pull the trigger to buy it. So I have these little nuggets in the corner too, and I'll read those. The first thing to understand about successful branding your business is your brand is based on a deep connection. That means that brands which make people feel empowered, really a positive emotional connection, are going to gain loyal fans in the long run, which will bring your competitive advantage. So I can't impress upon this enough. It's really keeping your customer top of mind and what they need and how you're adding value to their life. So where do we begin? I've executed sort of 10 simple steps for a successful branding building process. In the next few slides, I'm going to help you really start with the building blocks of building a successful brand. You may not need every single one. It's pretty involved with some of the messaging, but all these steps will give you an insight how to shape your brand and create a real memorable connection with your audience. Okay, number one, so discover the purpose behind your brand. This sounds really simple. You perform a service or offer a product, great. But try and think about what those services or products can do for your customers. Every successful brand has a powerful purpose behind it. There are 4 questions you should ask yourself when defining brand purpose. Why do you exist? What differentiates you? What problem do you solve? Why should people care? You'll use these ideas to inform the foundation of your branding through a tagline, visual value propositions, voice messaging, stories, and more. Studies show that 50% more consumers worldwide say they now buy based on a company's brand values and impact. Think about Patagonia, like their mission. There's a couple other ones that are escaping me right now, but that's sort of a big one that I always think about. Prana is another one. They're really involved in just mission-driven products and give back to the community as well as the environment. So dig deep and find those nuggets of truth what can distinguish your brand from others. Okay, number 2, decide what you stand for. A strong company culture or internal brand is an important factor in the success or failure of your public-facing brand. It ensures that what is being conveyed about your company is based on truth rather than being superficial. For your internal brand work, everyone within your organization needs to be aligned with who they are and what they're trying to achieve. You might have 1 or 2, maybe 3 people on your team. You might just be a solopreneur, but really to go inside and kind of think about these questions are important. This is why we recommend as many people as possible. And even if you are a solopreneur, talk to trusted friends. Ariel has this amazing network of people to bounce ideas off of. Use your network if you're just sort of going at it alone. This can help make your the conversation about your company and what makes it special if you're kind of stumbling on that. The things that you should look to define are your mission, where your company is now and its purpose, your vision, your company's big picture and unattainable vision, like those big audacious goals that you have for your company that you're shooting for the stars, and also your values, beliefs, and core statements shared by all the company's employees. So I've broken all these down in this slide. What is a mission statement? What is a brand vision? What are brand values? These are sort of guidelines as you go back and think about, okay, what is my mission statement if you don't have one? So a mission statement is a short summary of your company's purpose. A mission statement is defined as an action-based statement that declares your purpose of your company and how you serve your customers. Sometimes this includes a description of the company, what it does, and its overall objectives. Most mission statements are between 1 and 3 sentences, never exceeding 100 words. There's there's variables, but just a couple, like one or two sentences max. And the best mission statements are typically a single succinct sentence. You keep this in mind when you're crafting yours. So the brand vision is the vision statement that takes your mission statement, where your company is now, and builds on it and where it aspires to be. A vision statement can be inspirational and aspirational and describe the future version of your company that should challenge and inspire yourself or your employees about where you want to be. And so the brand values can take the form of a statement of principles, a list of your values. Either way, the brand values are deeply held truths that your company embraces every day, things you really stand for, and should serve as standards that guide your actions, decisions, and behavior. All right, number 3, understanding your target customer. This is a big one. Gathering insights before commencing your project gives you an overview of how your company is presenting itself currently and where it sits in the market, as well as who your target audience is and how they tick. This is an important step for any branding or rebranding project, and something that should be top of mind as your brand develops and grows. As your brand develops and grows, you might offer a new product, and that might mean that you have a new potential customer persona that you want to keep in mind. I'll get further on into this. You can't be everything to all people, so I think it's really important to really understand who your consumer is and their buying habits, where they live online, really get to know them. And again, at the top of the hour I mentioned, we could spend a whole day talking about all these different elements. Each one of these tips has its own hour in and of itself, if not more. So this is just sort of a top level of really getting to the insights of your customer and their behaviors, because I think that in and of itself is really valuable, how your brand is guided. All right, so depending on your budget and time restrictions, the insight gathering can be more or less in depth. You can use someone like myself, like a brand strategist, to help with sort of defining your persona and your customer. But you can also use your network, use your friends, like who's buying this, would you buy this, and kind of get some intel about them and their behaviors to help guide this. So whether you're undertaking online research, interviews, or surveys, you should always make sure that you have a good understanding of your customers, what they do, and what would make it easier or better for them, how your product or service can relate to them. And then also keep in mind of your industry, changes in your sector and what's happening, not just in your, like, let's say you're making candles or making, kombucha, what else, really be mindful of what other people are doing too. So, and I'll get to your competition in a minute, but it's important to stay on top of your industry. Little nugget here, brands are all about communicating your company's values to clients and customers. Think about who you're trying to reach. What is their demographic? What types of services do you think they're looking for when they need your business? What do they want? What's important to them? Remember, different demographics look different for different brands, and identify with different logos, colors, and even company values. So it's really important to kind of really keep in mind who you're speaking to. All right, number 4, research your competitor brands within your industry. You should never imitate what other big brands are doing in your industry, but you should be aware of what they are doing well, and more importantly, why they fail. The goal is to differentiate yourself from the competition, convince a customer to purchase you over them. We're always thinking about how to make a brand stand out from what's out there already. Don't skip this step in the building process. It's really important to understand your competitors, what they're doing right, what they're doing wrong, what their messaging is, just to inform where you are. You, of course, don't want to replicate that, but just take some tips on, what they're doing well. Competitor research is a key element for your own brand. Some things to keep track of and take note of are, is a competitor consistent with messaging and visual identity across all channels? If not, great, but you definitely should be. What's the quality of the competitor's products or services? Does the competitor have a customer review or social mentions that you can read about them, just to get some more insight about what they're doing right, what they're doing wrong, what their consumers are responding to? In what ways does the competitor market their business, both online and offline? And one little nugget, one of the biggest brand building goals is to differentiate yourself from the competition. Convince the customer to purchase them over you. And how you do that is really by being valuable to them, being authentic and trustworthy. I can't impress upon this enough, just like that transparency and how you're adding value to their life will really gain you loyalists for your brand. Okay, number 5, find a fit between your offering and your customer needs. A good brand will be true to your company's strengths and relevant to your customer needs, while also differentiating your company from the competition. Is never a single correct answer as to what you should focus on in order to stand out, but you should avoid trying to be all things to all people. For this reason, it's helpful to map out a number of completely different personas as a starting point before assessing the pros and the cons and deciding on a single direction to pursue. So personas are basically traits, shopping habits, sort of like, here's Carol, and she loves to surf. So she's into, hats, she's into sun protection, there's all these different qualities. She loves the outdoors, and really understanding who she is, her vibe, and how you would want to talk to her. How would you want to relate to her? I often say your company, your brand walks into a room, what do they say? Kind of think about that. That's sort of a key component when I'm doing a discovery process for a client, their personality. Okay, so there's bound to be a debate about the right approach. You might have several different personas that you want to talk to. That's okay. A new brand will have many aspects of the business. And so it's worth considering opinions of different people and really weighing in on like who you think your target top tier customer is and speaking to them first and foremost. With this step, you should look to define your positioning, what you do, who you do it for, and why you're different. Your brand promise, and that's the value you'll deliver your customers all the time, and your purpose, what you ensure to promise, your promise is, and it's always fulfilled. So I've broken this down to you just as a riff as you move forward, and if these things you're responding to like, yeah, I do need that positioning statement. The positioning statement is meant to identify your brand's specific market niche and target customers. Describe how your brand fulfills the needs of your customers in a way that your competitors do not, and show how you want to target market to perceive your brand. Let me read that again. And show how you want your target market to perceive your brand. So perception, how you want your customers to interpret you. So your brand promise tells customers what you deliver. Your brand promise should be simple, inspiring, realistic, and should establish trust by telling people what value or experience they can count on and receiving in every interaction with your company. Your brand purpose builds on your brand promise, telling your customers not what to do, but why you do it. It's key. It is important to describe why you exist and what you stand for, and should be meaningful, sincere, and show your company is committed to improving your customers' lives. Your brand purpose should tell what unique benefit your business provides, describe an action your company is taking, be consumer focused, be meaningful, be authentic, be uniquely yours, not easily replaced, be timeless, address your customers' deepest emotions, and answer the question, why do we exist? Number 6, let your brand personality shine. Customers aren't looking for another cookie cutter company that offers the same thing as everyone else. I just want you guys to do you and do it in a way that's uniquely you. And that in and of itself will set you apart. Their customers are looking for an experience tailored to their needs, backed by genuine personal interaction. So I put this together, like what's your brand spectrum, personality spectrum, and kind of where you are, just to kind of riff off of like, are we more friendly? Where do we lean with high energy versus careful thinking? These are all just cues to help really define, or prompts to help you define kind of what is our tone, what is our voice, are we more casual? Are we a little bit more educational? There's many different ways how your tone and voice can also influence your brand. So that's something when you're writing your mission statement or your positioning statement to think about if you're playful or, again, educational. So just things to keep in mind there. Well, Nugget, wondering how to brand your business in a unique way, make your personally stand out in every aspect of your brand building process. So I just spoke about tone. Once you've established sort of like what your personality is, it's influenced in all your messaging, how you post on social, it's woven into all your marketing materials. It's, you know, it's being consistent throughout with your personality. Okay, this is the big one, defining your story. This is something that people always sort of have like, oh, what's my story? So I want to tell you, your brand story is more than your history, your timeline. It's an interesting narrative that describes your brand, how your brand came to be, including the problem it set out to solve, what it offers to customers, and what it aspires to be. Now more than ever, it's important for you to reveal a part of your personal journey that led you to the appearance of your business. Think about your brand's personality and how you would describe it. Sharing a unique, inspiring tale about how you began your company will allow people to connect and identify themselves with what you offer. This is something that I always say about being, you know, just relatable in your story. Like, you know, a lot of products and services come from pain points of, you know, someone, there's this amazing company called The Beekeeper's Secret. And this woman had incredible allergies and she tried all pharmaceuticals, everything over the counter. Nothing seemed to help her until she was in Europe and she stumbled on this pharmacy that offered these natural bee products. And it was a game changer for her. So she came back to the States and couldn't find them here, and started harvesting bees and pollen and created this multi-million-dollar business out of solving her own personal problem. So it's really important to keep in mind, like, okay, where your origin story and sharing that, because people become endeared to your personal journey as well. So your brand story gives a chance to forge an emotional connection with your customers by sharing an authentic account of the journey your company has experienced. A compelling, honest brand story will not only make your brand more relatable, it will make your customers feel like they can know and trust you. This is a big one. I always impress upon that, just sort of transparency of why you created your brand. So this is another little tip about like how to create your brand story. So when building a brand, tell customers succinctly who you are. Use the business voice you've chosen for your brand, your personality voice. Your messaging should be intrinsically associated with your brand and conveyed consistently. This is part of the brand development process that goes beyond your logo and tagline to define the key aspects of who you are, what you offer, why people should care. A brand story is the opportunity to communicate on a human level, making a direct emotional connection with your consumers. What this means is the language that you use should be understood immediately while striking an emotional chord. Make it simple and clear. Most importantly, when creating a brand story, address not what you want, what your product can do, but why it is important to your customer. Okay, so number 8, the visual branding, logo, and tagline. This is the most exciting piece of the brand building process. Everyone wants to go and design their logo and what that looks like. That's wonderful. There's nothing wrong with that. But the best case scenario is you've done your homework and established who you are and who you're talking to and why. Now it's time to come up with a visual symbol that will best represent your brand and embody its primary qualities, values, and identity. This step may be the one you might need help with some creative execution. The logo will appear on everything that relates to your business. It will become your identity calling card and the visual recognition of your promise. So be willing to invest some time and money, maybe creating this because it's going to be everywhere. A designer can also help you develop brand guidelines. This is something I always impress on too. Yes, you have this logo, but then, you know, what are the colors? What photography are you using? What typography are you using? They should be consistent across all platforms. And this is what we call the brand style guide or the brand guidelines. And a designer can help you establish those once you've created the logo and some other visuals related to your brand. All right, number 9, integrate your brand into every aspect of your business. The brand building process never stops. Your brand should be visible and reflect everything your customers can see, read, and hear. Let me explain. If a client walks into your office or a customer walks into your store, your brand image should be on display on both the environment and with personal interactions. Anything tangible, from a business card to an advertisements to packaging, product needs, the stamp of your logo, and with your chosen voice of engagement. On any digital platform, ensure your brand looks the same everywhere. No funky skewed logos, like they're all consistent. Use your brand style guide to create consistency with visuals such as color, low use fonts, and photography. And don't forget about video too. YouTube, Facebook video, and Facebook Live, Snapchat, Instagram stories are all platforms you need to have content executed with your unique brand voice and personality. For those venturing into the podcast or audio, adhere to a theme that supports that brand message, value, and voice as well. All right, number 10, stay true to your brand building. Unless you decide to change your brand into something that is more effective based on measured customer response, and that's a whole nother thing about testing with analytics, we won't go into that, but your brand is always evolving and growing. So, but to keep it consistent is key. Refer back to your brand strategy whenever you need to make a decision about identifying identity or marketing. So those are your brand strategies, like your mission statement, your values, your positioning statement. Everything that's being projected out needs to go back and reinforced by those statements. If you're doing it right, your brand will plainly show your company, who your company is and why you're different to the competition. Have a distinct personality that is appropriate for your target audience. Be consistent in its messaging and design, reinforcing the position, promise, personality, and touch point. Demonstrate the value of your company that your company provides for the consumer, for the customer, and how your value is created. Change with the times. A good brand doesn't stand still. And just some cliff notes for this presentation and a little just top level, 7 ways to have people fall in love with your brand. Number 1, focus on your needs and pain points, not features. Research your target audience. Respond to customer feedback whenever possible. Keep people engaged. They want to hear from you, and keep that relationship going. Number 4, deliver more than you promise. Delight your customer. Number 5, tell a story with your message. Number 6, pay attention to the visuals. Up to 90% of purchases are influenced by visual factors, especially color, which can increase brand recognition by up to 80%. Fun little fact. And number 7, find out where your audience hangs out. These methods will not only make people fall in love with your brand, they will keep you coming back for more, and will start building your brand loyalty and growth. What people are looking for today is impeccable user experience, one that makes them feel like they're getting their money's worth. This is why top brands appeal to their customers' emotions. They realize most purchases aren't rational. Your brand exists in the minds of your audience, as well as their experience, impressions, interactions they've all had with you, both positive and negative. Thank you all. And I hope this was valuable, and I wish you all the luck. And I'm ready for any questions you might have that I can help guide your process.
Yay, that was awesome, Christina. Packed with so much really good information. So yeah, we breezed through that. So you all get to have access to that deck, which is amazing. So you can go through each slide and make sure that you are hitting all those points in relation to your brand. It'd be awesome to do some questions, but I did have a few brands pulled up that it'd be fun to just sort of workshop and look at. So I figured I could pull some of those up. Unless, do you all have questions right away? And then, secondly, I also thought that we could sort of go through a few of those slides and see if you wanted to try and just riff on some of those things. Yeah? Okay. Any immediate questions right now? No? Okay.
Oh,
I'm good. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I do.
Yeah.
So as you talk about these, can you also, I know we've got both people who have physical stores and people who have services where they are the brand. They are being represented. So can you talk maybe a little bit about the difference between those two and how you approach it?
Great question. So yes, there are tangible physical stores, but they are no different from and I'm assuming you have an online brand or you're a solopreneur. Is that correct?
I do coaching for people.
Coaching, perfect. I have a coaching client. I just launched a website for her. So it's really important to when I was kind of talking through and going through her discovery process, I made it more about why your customer would need a coach. What are they looking for? What problem are you helping them solve? I don't know if you're a generalized coach or if you have a specific niche, but if you have a specific niche, really speak to that. And I would really think about like your online presence and how you're getting your word out there, and having other people talk about you as well, keeping that sort of, get that conversation going, and after you've had your brand developed, kind of partner with or strategically network where other people are able to help talk about your brand so people can find you. And of course, in your website, I don't know if you have one, but having certain analytics there's something called SEO. I'm sure you're all maybe familiar with having those keywords really built into your site, coaching, what kind of coaching, all those buzzwords integrated into your site to help you kind of rise to the top in Google. But I really, really impress upon once you have your brand established, connect with other people so they can help amplify you. Was that helpful for you?
Yes, mine, when I do it, my actual mission is everyone has a mission in life. Mine's to help you fulfill yours.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And I would challenge you to say, like, well, what steps would you take? Tell me more.
Yeah, and that's, Ariel knows my website went completely away and they couldn't recover it. So it's a great time for me to reestablish everything.
For sure, for sure. And again, just keeping your customer, like so many people come in like, these are all the things I can do for you, but how about being aspirational? Here's where you can be. Here's what that's, just kind of keeping that in mind.
Yeah. And I have a lot of testimonials. So
awesome. I mean, testimonials are gold, my friends. So definitely have a page or have a slider that maybe on your home, like, I don't know if you're just doing a parallax site, but have those come through 3 or 4. You don't want to overwhelm people, which is really like the best of the best, and have a carousel of those come through.
Thanks.
Sure.
There's another question in the chat from Jade, and it says, what would you suggest if you have a messy brand for years, if you've had a messy brand for years, how would you suggest to bring out a new product with a much clearer brand?
Well, it sounds like it's time for a brand refresh. And it's kind of like looking at where you've been, what's been successful, what you're trying to achieve, and kind of refine and comb through. So, and that's okay, because a lot of people start with a logo or brand. And as I mentioned, like the brand is always growing. We're always growing. So a refresh, there's always time for refresh. I refresh brands all the time. And I refresh my own brand. I'm already like, oh my gosh, I really need to redo my site, So it's like, we're constantly evolving. But what I really would impress to get clear on is just keeping your vision and mission and values really succinct, really get to the heart of those. And if your logo changes, so be it, but really be clear on who you are and what you're striving to, how you're trying to connect with your clients and what you're trying to achieve. I hope that was helpful.
Yeah, she said that was awesome. Christina, you also got a ton of love in the chat. People saying like, that was the best deck I've ever seen.
Oh,
so yeah.
Awesome. I'm glad it was valuable, and I kind of like jammed through it. So I'm happy to share this, just to have as sort of a benchmark of how you'll take your brand and things to consider moving forward.
Cool. Well, let's keep doing questions, but I wanted to share a few brands. So let's just jump into a few brands, and then you can keep putting questions in the chat or unmute anytime. We can just sort of make this discussion. But I just wanted to share Oatly because Christina and I have a shared love for Oatly, because they essentially, from what I remember, like you're supposed to have 3 fonts and like you're supposed to have 3 colors, and Oatly seems like they break
all the rules. And this is the thing. And like, if you ever go to my site, like I'm a rule breaker, like I like to be disruptive. So when we were working on the Hazel people, like there's all these different alternative milks, and we use Oatly as sort of like a benchmark. Like they're so disruptive. They're just doing everything that like typical design speak you should never do, but it's really engaging and it stands out. It's educational and it's fun. So they are doing things that are important to as far as connection. And we were talking and I'm like, it's like it's like an adult cartoon. And you just got to read like all these amazing things about why it's good for you. And it's fun. So you can break rules, but do it in a way that kind of makes sense, that is, fun and engaging. And we don't have a before, but we looked at the Oatly brand before, and it was super conservative, like just you would never, just night and day. So it's fun to look at this brand, and it just makes you smile when you like look at their Instagram or their products. And just because of that, like I'm sold.
Yeah. Well, and also they were really against cow's milk, and they did like this whole campaign, and they got sued by some of the cow's milk the cow's milk industry in Sweden. And so they started with a huge splash lawsuit, and that's how they got a ton of publicity. And
I mean, they were total disruptors, and that got them press, just being that sort of taking that stand really got them noticed.
Yeah, and their Instagram is so weird. Like everything about it is just quirky and ridiculous. And I remember reading one post that was just really funky and fun. And then the top comment said something like, "Oh my gosh, Oatly, I want to be you." And I was like, wow, they did it so well, because people want to be them. Like that's the feeling. Like you get that FOMO, that fear of missing out, or that like, oh my gosh, I want to do this. I want to be this. Like, yeah, I thought that was really cool.
This is one of those brands, they're like unabashedly like, we're just going to be us and we don't care. Which is a really beautiful place to be.
Yeah. Also during COVID, they had this whole like entertainment channel that they just made like super weird things, which was cool during COVID. Yeah. And then Christina, you were mentioning Airbnb, and I know you've done some work for them too.
Yeah, I worked on their 2020 brand campaign before it got halted. But what I love about this brand, and this is so many brands I talk about being aspirational. Like I want to see myself there, and they do that really well. They do experience really well with they're really steadfast about their authentic photos, really being inside the consumer or the guest perspective. They really come from that guest perspective, and how that can relate to you is just really thinking about your customer and really talking about like what their needs are and what would feel good for them. This is a really great brand and I think they are doing commercials now that are really a collection of guest photos, like real photos, not staged, sort of woven together. And it just makes you like, we all don't take like the most glamorous photos, like those picture perfect photos. They're real and they're fun and they're goofy and they're just super authentic. And that's something that Airbnb really kind of helps put you there. We all have looked, I'm sure, on their site and like, I definitely want to be here. So that's something they do really well as far as aspiration.
That's awesome. I love it. Yeah. That's so true. Okay. And then the last example was Salt and Straw, which is an ice cream company in Portland. And if you follow them on Instagram, you just want to eat ice cream all day long.
They do home delivery too. So watch out. If you start following, you'll definitely get intrigued to try some of their products. But they do, one thing I love about Salt and Straw, not only is they just provide joy. Like who doesn't love ice cream? It's, it's a national pastime. But what I love about them, their culture, they're inclusionary. They talk about what they stand for. And even more importantly, when they go into new markets, I think they have 18 plus shops right now. They always partner with local businesses. And this is something I would like to encourage you to talk, in your network. And, I mentioned earlier with Linda about like finding your network, having people talk about your brand. How can you cross-pollinate? How can you help each other out to help build your brand? And that's something I really just value about this one in particular. They just opened a store in Miami, and they use all local people to help infuse their products, like this awesome chocolate, into their ice cream. And got to share this chocolate founder story. And I just think that's really beautiful when you can pull people in and help amplify each other.
That's super inspiring.
Yeah.
Yay, cool. Well, I will make sure to put those links in the email that I send afterwards with Christina's presentation, just so you can check out those brands. But let's just have a discussion. Does anyone have any more questions or thoughts, or do you all want to take a stab at maybe your brand positioning statement, or why do you exist? Answering some of those questions.
Don't be shy. Let's talk.
All right, nobody else is jumping in. Why not? So I'm Heather Blake. I wear many, many hats. Okay, but for this instance, I have a little side business, which I really have only had one customer in the last 3 years. Okay. I do event coordination. I've been doing it I did it for a theater group that I worked with years ago. I've been doing it for the Elmira Grange for many years. And I started doing stuff with the city and the chamber as well. I helped coordinate the pop-ups last year, and hopefully that's going to happen again this year. And I'm not necessarily an event planner. Like, I don't really want to plan somebody's wedding because that's just way too much little tiny details for me, but I like to collaborate and help them find a venue and a caterer and music and all those kind of things. And even events where my favorite things to do are vendor events, where you bring all these people together and you make it fun, and then you just promote the crap out of it. So,
Yeah.
but my one actual customer was this lady who was having it was a retirement / birthday party for her husband. And she had a lot of things going on with the family medical stuff. So everything kind of fell apart, and she just wanted somebody to help her make sure she didn't forget something and that everything was going to run smoothly. And so I helped her do it. And it was so much fun to do that. And I even had an article in the paper about it. She, gave me some good reviews, yada, yada, but nothing has happened since then. And that was all way before COVID hit. So, and I've even tried to put it out there. Hey, it's not too late to start, or it's not too early to start planning your next event when things open up again. But I feel like I'm not branding myself right.
And I can't see your name. What is your name? It's not here on
Heather.
Heather. Oh my gosh. So great to meet you. And I love what you're doing. I'm like, that's something just for fun, like just being a visual person and like an experienced person. So I'm excited that you have this like desire, and who knows, it could turn into your full-time thing. One question I have for you is, how are you marketing yourself other than casual conversations? Or do you have a presence online? Do you have, an official, like, here's what I can do for you sort of setup?
Yeah, I have a website. I've got a Facebook page. I need to fix it because I thought I was doing it as a separate thing, but it's attached to the Grange, which is fine because that's my main venue anyway.
Okay.
But the gal that wrote the article locally here, she found me by looking for events going on in Fern Ridge. Well, it's called Fern Ridge Events.
Okay.
And nobody snagged that name ever, so I snagged it.
Perfect. That's awesome. Well, I would say that it's a good time to promote for sure. And, in any of your channels, like list some reasons, just some like teasers about, obviously, we're coming out of these times, or we can do safe distance, events, like kind of add some value to them. Like, here's what you could do to promote, whatever you're, choose one business or use someone as an example to say like, hey, it's, spring is just around the world. We're in spring. So summer's just around the corner, however you want to position it, and really tease up to the fact to keep people thinking. And it's all about consistency, Heather. It's not just one post. It's like multiple posts of like what people should be thinking about, I don't know if it's a range of things, from if you want to help someone with their farmer's market booth or whatever it is, just kind of like use businesses or instances to how people can think, oh yeah, I need to do that too. Like that'd be great to have help with this, and just add some key things about, have you been thinking about this? But really tease it out and be consistent about it. Like one post isn't going to get you any work. So you just need to be just like, you need to be just like gently like, hi, I'm here, in a really thoughtful and engaging way.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yeah. I've done the farmer's market. I managed it for a couple of years.
Oh,
I've done
awesome.
the home shows. My husband and I used to have our own business, and so we did the home shows and marketed ourselves and stuff. So yeah, I want to pass all that information on to people as well.
Yeah, and I would say in each post too, Heather, like, tease it out really simply about, have you thought about this? Sun's out, and we're able to do more socially distanced or more acceptable, in-person events. Then in your, I don't know if either in Instagram or in Facebook, kind of say, hey, just to recap, this is what I do. This is what I can do for you.
Yeah.
And just bullet points, like not just like boom, boom, boom. So people can just like, they don't have to read so much because people's attention spans are like this right now, right? So just like, I can help you with this, 5 top things.
And I think over the last few years, I just have been too busy to market myself. And so I haven't really sat and thought about and given myself the confidence to do it either. So I think I just need to push a few things aside.
And this is what I say about it. Like, well, we all have these great ideas, but really dedicate, like, okay, 8 o'clock Monday morning, I'm chunking out 2 hours to dedicate to this. Like, it's a non-negotiable. You have to put it on your calendar or it's never going to get there.
That's so true.
You have to give it time and attention. And I do this with a lot of friends and clients as well. It's just like, having an accountability partner. If you have that, people are going to, a coworker, a friend, someone in your network, have them help you, like, be accountable and help them be accountable too. I think that's something that we can all, like, community can help you stay on track.
Yeah, we have a whole accountability group I need to take advantage of, not
there
just
you go.
them for a change.
You do, Heather. Yes, you do.
I've always been helping them all this time. And so it's like, my turn, you guys.
Exactly. What's the phrase? Do as I say, not as I do. Do as you say, Heather.
That's awesome. I love it. Paige, it looks like you have a question too.
I finally grew a pair to ask it. Talking about accountability partners, kind of what made me think of it. So I recently actually just connected from DMs to Zoom calls to now with a gal. I'm in Kansas City and she's in Austin, and we're in the works of starting a podcast.
Oh, awesome.
And so trying to build a brand around this. It's not going to be something huge and like paying the bills, right? We get to baby step it. But one of the biggest things in your steps that stood out to me was about reinforcing that credibility. So I was curious what advice you had when we are going to be in a lifestyle kind of conversation brand where we're not certified professionals and but we have experience, like just pure life experience. So how would you give advice for speaking to life experience as credibility?
I love that question. Thank you, Paige. So you have a wealth of experience, and I think being transparent about, we're not lifestyle professionals, but we are professionals in life. And so, just like make it fun like that. And then I'm based on, experience of, I don't know what your background is, like running a household, raising kids, or, starting a product. Like, we have this information and we just want to share it for the greater good. So have it be like valuable for them. And also just like, it's a fun conversation. We want to like engage with our, people around the globe to talk about lifestyle, and just make, like, as you'd be talking with your business partner too, like riff off that and make it just like 3 or 4 sentences about kind of what the podcast is about, but really being transparent. Like, hey, we're just doing this because we want to like have fun and share some of our knowledge with you.
That is awesome feedback. I love that. And from both of you, my new favorite word of the day is to riff on stuff. I've never heard that. Yeah, that's good.
We're big riffers. Yes. And I love that you're starting a podcast. Congratulations. It's no small feat. My partner and a friend of hers, we all started a podcast during this pandemic called Laid Off Lounge. And she had just been let go from Airbnb. They did a bunch of layoffs, and her good friend, who was a marketing strategist, he's in real estate now. And we just ripped with people. I did all the brand identity and did the voiceover and stuff. And Carol has a background in editing and just a great personality. And so does Billy Jack. And so they just collectively put it out there in their network. Who's been laid off? I was going to ask you, like, who are your guests? Like, kind of get some information about who they are and what they're looking for, or what stories they can share, and use that to your advantage to kind of help craft your story too. Share your own personal experience so people can relate to you.
Yeah, there's also a cool new app called Clubhouse, if any of you are on it yet. It's like invite only, and it's essentially audio chat rooms, but there's like, it's like listening to a conversation. So it's like a podcast live with a bunch of different people just randomly having a conversation in a chat room. So you can just join anything and they're like, yeah, me too, cool. And they're just all having a conversation and there's like just the speakers and then tons of people listening in. So it's awesome. That might be a good idea.
Yeah, that's a really great idea. That's a great networking opportunity as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but it's only available on iPhones. That's right, Linda. Thanks. Yeah. Awesome. So good. Well, we have 2 more minutes left. We probably have time for like one more question if anyone has one. Anyone?
There's one in the comments.
Oh, there is? Sweet.
Hurry.
Just missed that.
Say, I don't know. It's 2 minutes.
Oh, was that John? And who's talking right now? Someone's talking too. Let's see. Okay, Camelia was saying, have a question as the pandemic. As the pandemic. Oh, I don't know if I'm reading this right. I had a lot of orders and had a few orders that I could not make. How DCO? I clean up my oops. Wait, I don't know. Okay, other than gave me there's money back, but sent the orders. Okay, Camelia, I'm sorry. I don't know what your question is. You might need to. You could unmute and ask again. Sorry, that question is a little.
Oh, there you are. Are you
There you
there?
go. Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So during the pandemic, I had a bunch of orders through Etsy, and I couldn't get the orders out because of, you know, all of the whatevers. And so I was behind on some of my orders, and so they were asking for their refund. So I gave them their refund, and then I turned around and I went ahead and made their order and sent it out for free. How do you clean up your the egg off my face?
Oh, well, I think you, with a great start of just, you know, in goodwill, sending them their orders free of charge. And I would say just keep engaging with, I don't know how many people you have that happen to you, but just kind of keep that connection going, Camelia, and make sure that they feel good and, you know, are heard. And is there anything else you can do? And, you know, just kind of support them, keep that customer experience really positive. So keep engaging with them.
Okay. Yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
There was some bad reviews on my Etsy. So
yeah, I would reach out to the people that, you know, and, you know, just explain what happened. And it's unfortunate. And I'm so sorry that you had to experience that because of the pandemic. I'm sure you're on top of it, barring that. So just keep engaging with them and kind of promoting some goodwill, and just sort of help change their perception of the experience.
all right, thank you.
And that's really all you can do, is just kind of show up in the most beautiful and authentic way possible.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's a really good quote, Christina. Just show up in the most beautiful, authentic way possible.
Christine, don't they allow her to respond on Etsy and make a comment of, I'm sorry this happened. I did do this to make amends and going forward. This is my, what I'm doing.
Yeah, hopefully there is a way that she can, you know, I'm so sorry you had this experience. I did fulfill the order free of charge. I'd love to stay connected. Please let me know how I can be of help in the future. But, you know, something to kind of smooth over and respond to, rather than just having that negative thing hanging out there. That's a great follow-up for that.
Yay, perfect. Awesome. Well, we're at the top of the hour. Maybe everyone give Christina a huge virtual round of applause. Yay.
Thank you
So much.
It was a pure pleasure chatting with you all, and I'm excited to share this deck with you all, and hopefully it'll be valuable, and it'll spark some new ideas for you. And if you need any help with branding, feel free to give me a call. I'd love to help share your story and create some memorable branding experiences for you if that feels right.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Christina. And thanks everyone for joining, and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Yeah. Take care, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye. Goodbye.